Welcome to GAK. I'm Josh.
I'm Mark.
And today we're looking at the ultimate podcast setup.
So podcasting seems to be really popular at the moment. I've only just kind of got on board with it and discovered it like through Spotify and everything. But it's been around for like quite a long time.
Podcasting is on the up and up, like you say. I mean, they said that video is going to kill the radio star back in the 80s, but podcasting is bringing radio back into the limelight. There's so many podcasts out there. There's very popular ones from NPR, people like that, This American Life, Radiolab, all the way through to talk-based podcasts like the Joe Rogan Experience, H3H3. There's a podcast for absolutely everything. If you visit the iStore anywhere, there's podcasting on football, there's podcasting on shopping, professions, healthcare, politics. Anything you can think of, there is now a podcast out there.
And I guess it's so, I guess part of the reason for that is because it's so easy to do. You can do it yourself.
Pretty much, podcasting is a really accessible form of media. As long as you have the right equipment, it doesn't even have to be that expensive. You have a means of recording it, and a means of editing it, and a means of uploading it, and you can basically make a podcast on anything you want.
And that's why we've put all this equipment on the table. We're going to show you how to basically have a podcasting setup.
Exactly. There's going to be sort of two sections. The first section is the best studio setup, things to have indoors, the best equipment, how to sound the best, and also looking at recording on the road as well, or out in the big wide world, interviews or getting sound bites, vox pops from people on the street. So there's two separate sort of groups of equipment that you can use.
So we've got all this equipment on the table. So let's have a little check through it. I guess, first of all, kind of simply, you need a microphone and then you need some way of recording.
You need some way of capturing that audio.
Exactly.
So in the studio, you'll probably start off with computer, laptop. I've got my MacBook here with a piece of software that you can capture your audio on. So there are a few. There's obviously free ones, there's expensive ones, whatever. The good thing is the second part that you need is a means of capturing that audio and sending it to your computer. So we've got here today the Focusrite Scarlett 2i2 audio interface. Now this has got two preamps for each mic input. There's also a larger option, which is 4 inputs, and I think there's even a smaller option with 1. We've chosen this one today because me and Mark are together, so we only need 2. But the good thing about this is it also comes with a light version of Pro Tools. So everything in this package will get you started off recording,
handy, yeah.
Providing you get your mics as well. So like I said, these have got 2 independent gain controls for your inputs, so that's instrument or mic line. It's also got monitor control and a really good headphone amp as well, so you can listen back to everything that you're talking about latency free, which is really important. But, and this moves on to our second thing, if you're really professional and you want everyone to be able to hear themselves in headphones, you're going to need a headphone amp as well. And this is the Art Headamp 6, which is a 6 input one. It's very large. Sorry, Headamp 6 Pro. This is huge, but it's fantastic. So this is a rack mount based piece of kit. It's got independent gain control for everybody. So depending where they're sitting, if they want it louder, quieter, you or your studio engineer can control it via this piece of equipment.
Okay, so we'll look at the microphones in a minute, which is obviously a super important thing. Before we do that, let's just check out headphones, because we need some way of hearing.
So you need a way of hearing or playing back what you're recording, checking your levels. I mean, the best thing to do, in my opinion, is get closed back headphones just to isolate surrounding noise. So you know exactly what you're hearing. If there's any fuzzes in the room, if there's any aircon, closed back will really isolate your ears and be able to let you sort of check that out. So these that we've got here are the Shure SRH240As. The reason why I chose these is they're quite a good price online. They won't set you back too much. So in the event that you need to buy 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pairs, it's not going to break the bank, because
super
at the end of the
affordable.
day, you need to really focus your money on your sound cards and on your microphones.
And they come with the little
jack adapter.
Which is really handy, because the amount of times I'm bloody
Exactly.
stuck on this
Yeah.
thing.
Also, I've lost a lot of those, so yeah, it's good to buy spares. Actually, that brings me to the other point as well. All of this equipment is well and good, but it's super important when you're recording a podcast to have spares of everything. So that includes SD cards. You never know how much you're going to record, or if you're going to run out of space. If you have your previous show on one, all of a sudden you're running out of memory, the whole day is ruined. Same goes for batteries. So we'll get to the Zoom H6 in a little bit. That's field recording, but that runs on batteries if it's not plugged into the mains. If that dies, or any of your other equipment dies, wireless microphone for example, then your whole day is shot. So make sure you've got plenty of spare SD cards.
And I would say as well, like XLR leads, obviously we haven't talked about them yet.
Yeah.
XLR leads, jack leads, it's always good to have spares of them.
These little things you sort of forget about. Good XLR leads, don't cut corners on buying your XLRs. Make sure they're of good quality, because if there's any electrical interference or one of them's faulty, and you only find this out at the end of the day when you or your guest voice has been completely cut out of your recording, then time is of the essence. You might not be able to get that guest back, and the whole day has been wasted.
Indeed. So let's talk microphones.
Microphones, yeah. Okay, so in the studio, it is, providing budget, it's a good idea to get condenser microphones. They sound great. Broadcasting usually uses condensers. They're warm, they're close, they make you sound real nice and bassy like you hear on the radio. When Ira Glass, for example, is the host of This American Life, he's got quite a soft voice, but they use great condenser microphones.
And I think that's really important with podcasts, is to have that intimate, if you've got your headphones on,
exactly,
have that intimate connection with the presenter. Or
exactly, yeah. They don't need to have to raise their voice. You want to hear all their intonation or something in their voice, all their character. And now this thing is seen in pretty much most of the podcasts I like to watch and listen, because some of them also videotape them. Things like the Joe Rogan Experience, H3H3. They use this bad boy. This is the Shure SM7B.
It's one of those mics that when you start looking at everything, it's just everywhere.
It's iconic. It's such a beautiful design, shape. It looks fantastic. It is on the higher end of the price market, but there's a reason. It's pretty much the most popular and the best broadcast style microphone for its price.
I would say that out of all of this equipment, it's probably the most important to spend the money on.
Absolutely, yeah. At the end of the day, I've had conversations with people in the past, and they say, buy all the equipment you want, but invest in the microphone, because you want it to last. And obviously your voice and your guest voice are everything about your podcast comes from your voice, and you want to be able to capture that in the best way you can. So
what we're going to do is we're going to mute these two microphones, and we are going to turn this one on, and we'll have a listen to what it sounds like.
Yeah.
So we've got the SM7B plugged in, so...
Okay, so this is me speaking through the SM7B. Now, as you can hear, it sounds warm, it sounds close, it sounds broadcast quality. And the difference you'll find between the mics we use on the tables is that, yes, it's very much in your ears. Is that the right expression to use? I don't know, it's close, like I said, it's warm, and it sounds professional.
In
your ears. Surely FM. Yeah, this is what, like I said, what they use on the Joe Rogan podcast, on H3H3. There's millions that they use, millions of podcasts, that use these microphones. And the most important thing to note is as well, when you've got your guests in the studio, they'll have different, voice volumes. They'll have different ways of speaking. And the good thing about these is it really captures the character of your voice at low volume. So if you're recording in an environment where you're on a small table, or you're in a living room or a bedroom, there's no need to shout. You can have a quiet conversation, and microphones like the Shure SM7B will capture all the character and all the bass and warmth of your voice, even before you process the vocals afterwards on the piece of software you're using. So while we're talking about the SM7B, it should be noted what it's connected to right now, which is also something you'll see in loads of different podcast videos and also in a lot of home studio setups, and that is a stand for your microphone. Now, this is a weighty microphone, and the best thing, in my opinion, to get is a studio arm. What we're using at the moment is the Rode PSA1 studio arm. It's a professional way to mount your microphone to a worktop or a studio desk. It rotates 360. I'm not going to move it because you will get that picked up in the microphone. So get it in position. It can hold up to 2 kilograms of weight, so it takes any large microphone such as the SM7B, and it's a great way to save space, especially on the desk if you want to set up a laptop or have your notes while you're speaking to your guests.
Okay, so moving on to the field recording side of it, we have the trusty H6.
Yes, this bad boy. We've used it for a lot of our videos that we've done on the move. We also use it every time we do a studio video.
Just because it's so easy and so functional.
It's probably one of the best portable recorders out there. A lot of people I know sing its praises. It's reliable. One of the great things about this is it has, as opposed to a lot of other portable recorders, it has 4 XLR inputs. I used to use one personally from another brand that had 2, and that was great, but this one has 4 with independent gain control as well, and it's just a really sturdy, awesome bit of kit.
And if you do need any more, we have this adapter here which allows you to have another 2, so it turns it into 6, which is
6 XLR inputs.
Which is great.
On a portable recorder, yeah, which is great. It runs on batteries, so if you are on the move and you want to catch somebody for an interview while they're traveling, or wherever you are where you have no access to mains, you can do that, and the batteries last for a really long time. If you have access to power, like we've done, you can just plug it straight into the mains, and it's never going to die.
So we have a few options in terms of microphones in the field. This bad boy, which I've used a few times and I've seen lots of industry professionals use, is the Sennheiser MD42, which is a great microphone.
It's a great sounding mic. Yeah.
We took this over to NAMM back in January, and it just cuts out all the noise around you.
I used it recently at BMC. It's a great sounding microphone, really directional. So like Mark said, even at NAMM, when there's 100,000 people running around, you don't capture anything but the person you're focusing the mic on, and that's really handy. And
then the wireless system that's obviously really important when you're out in the field, because you don't want cables running around all over the place, is this bad boy. Now this is something that is super awesome. Like this is what all the big boys are using, and this is I'll let you read it.
It's the EW100 G3 transmitter from Sennheiser. They have actually just released, or they're going to release, a G4 range. So we'll have those as well. But this thing is an industry standard wireless transmitter. It's absolutely fantastic. Battery life is incredible. And all you need on the receiving end of that is one of these, which is the receiver. So that plugs into your recording device. So for example with us, we'd have it plugged into the H6. And that means I can run around up to quite a large distance.
Yeah.
Recording people, getting vox pops, getting little idents from whomever. It's on the higher end scale of prices, but it's a great investment. And like Mark said, this is one of the best. You see so many people using these things, and yeah, I mean it's just fantastic. Build quality, it's reliable, battery life is superb.
I'm pretty sure I've never heard of them breaking as well. I mean, I'm sure they have, but I think they're super sturdy and forever lasting.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So
they're very,
it's
very
definitely
strong.
a worthwhile investment.
Speaking of sturdy and reliable, the next option you have when recording out in the field is to have, say, 2 mics plugged in to the Zoom H6. One of my favourite podcasters in the entire world is Adam Buxton, who used to be on BBC Six Music. Fantastic. He has a weekly or monthly podcast, and he rocks out with a similar sort of audio recorder to the Zoom H6, and he uses a pair of plugged-in microphones. Now these, the Shure SM58,
the good
legendary
classic 58s.
Classics. These things could survive a nuclear explosion. They're so tough. They're very reasonably priced, and they're great out in the field. So a pair of them won't set you back. Now, if I was to interview Mark or whomever you may be, take these bad boys. They don't weigh much. They fit in your bag. They sound great being handheld or on a desk stand like the ones we've got here. And yeah, like I said, they won't set you back.
I tell you what, let's plug them in, and we will continue this conversation with them plugged in.
So right now, this is me and Mark using the SM58 handheld. It must be said. Now these things, like we said before, are really, really reliable. They're never going to break. They sound good. They're light, so you can quickly and easily get them out. One thing to mention is handling noise. Now, you've got to be fairly careful when recording a podcast that handling noise doesn't become a problem and affect your final recording. Obviously, if I'm using my hand like this and moving the mic around, you're going to get a few noises. The only way to really escape that problem is to get, like these tiny little desk stands. They fold out. They're really cheap. They're really reliable. Whack them on the desk or wherever you are. Have your guests sitting opposite you, and then you're not touching the microphone. The other option is they have like suspension handles, which I got for my portable recorder, which is like a suspension mount with a handle, and that just eradicates handling noise around the body. Also, they can a lot of the time come with wind protectors, extra pop filters, all these sort of things. So they're worth looking out for as well.
Yeah, because you were mentioning Adam Buxton, is it?
Adam Buxton, yeah.
A really big podcaster, and he uses these.
Yeah, when he does his intro, he records straight into, like the Zoom, for example, the H6 comes with various microphones that you can actually directly clip into the unit. He does that for the intros, and to avoid handling noise on that, I think he does the same thing. He uses I'm not sure of the brand, but a suspension kit where it grips the unit. There's a little sort of shock sort of suspension section, and then a handle. And what that does is it ensures you're not touching the body, the plastic, so that's not coming through the recording.
Amazing. And I think I got, these microphones are super affordable. Again, they're a microphone that you see everywhere, like
absolutely everywhere.
And they are really sturdy and indestructible. On the GAC show, I'll put a link below. We dropped one of these into a jug of beer.
I remember that.
And left it 24 hours, took it out, and
it worked.
And it worked. So
yeah, if you're doing podcasts at music festivals or events, one goes missing, it's still going to work if it's dropped into a pint of beer.
Exactly.
So that was everything you need to start recording podcasts. Whether you're out in the field or in the studio, all these bits of equipment will make sure you get everything you need recorded and at good quality.
If you've enjoyed this video, then please give us a thumbs up or leave a comment below. Let us know if you've used this stuff or if you're starting your own podcast, what you recommend. And if you want to see more videos like this, then please hit the subscribe button, and we shall see you very soon.
Nice. See ya.